Our top stories this week. The feminists are buzzing about a case in Michigan where a judge locked up 3 kids for refusing to meet with their dad, but only because the alienating mother was brainwashing them so badly against the father that she compared it to Charles Manson's influence over his followers. Then she releases them to a summer camp with counseling at the father's request. In Arizona, an independent review reveals that the state still can't handle the rising number of kids they've been snatching, and a new lawsuit in Arizona is seeking to void provisions of the federal laws that requires the child protective industry to place their stolen Native American kids with tribal members because they say it doesn't always take into account the best interest of the child. In Illinois, the American Civil Liberties Union is suing the state to make sure that they give the child protective industry the money to operate regardless of a state budget being passed. In California, a grand jury wants the child protective industry to improve communications with their sister agencies to better take care of stolen kids. The federal government is cutting off money to the state of Minnesota because of their failing foster care standards, where the kids are re-entering the system too much, and the number of stolen kids in Montana is up 70% since 2008. A class action lawsuit has been filed against New York City's utter failure of a foster care system due to mismanagement and the kids staying in care for too long. In Tennessee, concerns are being raised about the state's new policy of publicly posting the names of anybody who has been accused of child abuse, even if they have not been convicted of any crimes. In Israel, a bill is being considered that would encourage the handing over of abused children to relatives instead of stranger families. In Pennsylvania, school districts are scrambling to comply with the state's new background check law, which was a knee-jerk reaction to the Jerry Sandusky case, and which doesn't include Carnival workers. In Alberta, Canada, 2 teenage girls attacked a group home worker and took off in a stolen van. In England, a 15-year-old foster kid takes off with her newborn baby but is found safe and sound shortly after. In Utah, 2 girls went missing from a group home and police are asking for the public's help in locating them. And in South Carolina, a foster kid with ADHD who disappeared was found safe and sound. In Michigan, right after the foster mother was warned by a CPS agent to keep a closer eye on him, a 9-year-old autistic foster kid disappears and ends up being found dead in a lake. And in Alberta, Canada, 2 more foster kids and 2 more kids who are under CPS watch have died so far in June and July of this year. In New Jersey, an Army major and his wife were convicted of beating, feeding hot sauce to, and starving foster kids. In Oklahoma, a CPS agent is being investigated for having sex with her 16-year-old foster son. In Michigan, a foster dad is on the first of 3 trials, this one where a 12-year-old girl is claiming sexual abuse. In Ohio, a former foster dad pleads guilty to sex charges, and a former counselor who worked with abused and neglected kids in Arizona and Maryland was sentenced to 35 years for receiving the pictures from another sick fuck who was sexually abusing 6-week-old premature baby in California. In Arizona, 5 former CPS agents who were fired for being scapegoats during last year's child abuse hysteria scandal, where everybody found out that more than 6,000 reports weren't investigated, are appealing the dismissal of their wrongful termination lawsuit. In Ireland, a boy is accusing his foster care provider of dictating an angry letter to his real mother. In Bronx, New York, a foster mother was found dead in her home. And finally, tonight in Oregon, a school issues a draconian threat to parents that if they are late picking up their kids, then they would give them to CPS and they would have to go to court to get them back. For these stories and all the latest dirt on the child protective industry, visit www.legallykidnapped.com. And until next week, this is Baby LK, over and out.